We're talking to him. I get this situation. He stopped at the door and no. I mean down in the F-16 and what's he doing talking to the doorman? Guys, should I do this or? Dumping out there and knocking the 14th floor and everybody Toledo, Bill Harris. Was he gone before you? He was Hydra-Matic.
Coming here tonight and helping us put this thing over. Without you, it wouldn't have been much of a party, I'm sure. One last warning, if your ticket stubs aren't turned in, you won't win. We're going to give away a door prize. As soon as the guy gets here, he's taking the door off the garage now to bring it over. At this time, I'd like to introduce our Toastmaster for the evening. He will take over at this time. Mark, come here. Good evening.
We're here tonight to honor a couple fellows who been here for a while. We've worked for, associated with, whatever. And we'd also like to honor their wives. These are the women who have gotten up and got to work for years. And so what we need to do is, first, Mr. Bueford Huey and his wife, Mickey. And Mr. Ed Wolak and his wife, Marais. Jones to come up and say a few words. Warren is the fellow that handed out paychecks for these fine gentlemen.
These two fine gentlemen, Bueford Huey and work directly for me when they retired. I'm telling you, we had one excellent day one. I'll never forget the time my boss called me and said, Warren, I want you to come in my office in 15 minutes for a blueprint for a thing. I said, boss, you got it, no problem. I hung the phone on and sit there in the office a minute. I said, what the hell is this thing of a joke? I said, I know. Eddie Wolak. I went on to Eddie Wolak and I said, Ed, I got to have a blueprint for a thing of a jig in 10 minutes. He said, Warren, no problem. I can make it. Everything's okay. I'll bring the print down to your office. So I went down to my office and down there biting on the bill. Get yourself smart. Here it is. Spread it around on my desk. It only took me 8 minutes. Here it is. I designed it myself. Safety of food. Go to work. I guarantee it. And I put gingerbread on it for you. And I want you to know, Ed did this time after time after time. You're talking about a wonderful fellow to work with you in law. Bueford Huey. Until a couple days ago, I never heard of it before. And we all call him Huey. I may call him Bueford, or I may call him Huey. the job I got now, furnace repair. Jim Hagedon, the first shift maintenance supervisor, after I was there 1 week, decided to go to Chicago on vacation. This Warren, you're in charge. Great. Here I am, going to run all these furnaces, running at 1600 degrees, no problem. I loved it. One day, would you believe, on the day shift, we screwed up. And I mean, we screwed up then. I got so nervous, I said, well, where's Jim Hagedon? I said, he's in Chicago. I said, hold on, he can't come. Then I looked at my watch and said, oh, Huey will be here in 30 minutes. Just like the clock, Huey's walking down the aisle. I said, Huey, here, get your shoes on, put your lunch down. I'm in deep trouble. Okay, Bubba, take it easy. So he went, changed his shoes and came back, sat down, and we talked about the car. He said, Warren, I'm going to tell you something. I want you to put your coat on and go home. I said, what? He said, put your coat on and go home, because that furnace will be running before lunchtime. And I want you to know, Huey did this time after time after time. And you're talking about a wonderful fellow to have working for you. It was good. And I want to say to both of you guys tonight, thank you. And I really appreciate all the effort and the fine job that you did for Warren Jones and the Hydra-Matic. And I want you to have a happy retirement. And I want you to know, I want to
Now, even though we're going to honor these fellows, what we're going to do is one at a time, we're going to go through their history. And the first fellow that we're going to slowly turn over the spit is a fellow by the name of Ed Wolak. Early in May of 1941,
Oh boy.
Ed Wolak began his work career at Detroit Transmission as a drill press operator. In the same week, he moved one department to another, got a 10-cent raise, and he was up to a janitor chipper. Everything went well. He went up before the end of the year. He was a bullard operator. He was making $1 an hour. Then he got laid off. Now, before we go any farther, we've got some charts over here. And if Jim will come over, we can show you some of the attributes that this fine gentleman has. He's a husband, father. You can read for yourself. We're going to try and cover this through the rest of the little talk. I want to back it up, Jim, and get it under the light here.
Read it, Art.
Okay, it says that Ed Wolak is a husband. He's also a father. He's been a drill press operator, a janitor, chipper, lathe operator, bullard operator. He was an inspector. He was a radar mechanic. He was working as a precision bore and face operator. He upgraded to the electrician trade, became a journeyman. He was a foreman on maintenance. Then they made him a foreman of machine repair, and I haven't figured that one out yet. He's also an inventor, a designer, and now he's a retiree. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that can add a few more things to this. But we didn't want to put on too much gingerbread. Anyway, after Eddie got laid off, he went to the Marais Corporation and worked as an inspector. Remember that, Ed? While he's working away, he got a little telegram. It was from his uncle. And they said, "Greetings, Ed. We want your body." So Eddie went into the Army Air Force. And he was there for a few years, working on radar. In 46, he and his uncle had a parting of the ways, and he came back looking for a job, and he wound up at Detroit Transmission again. This time, when he went into the bore and face. 1946, Eddie became an electrician upgrader. He continued working at this until he made journeyman, and then he went on as a supervisor. It's not much of a picture, but we have a picture here of Ed Wolak, the day that they made him a supervisor. You can have this, Ed. He had hair, huh? During the the time that Ed was a supervisor, he performed the job extremely well with his quiet efficiency. He did a real good job. He was always conscientious, hardworking. We even got a picture of Ed at work. Remember that one? Now, over the years, as Warren has said, Eddie attained a reputation for being able to do whatever was needed to get something going, to make something work. And every time somebody needed a whatchamacallit or a thingamajig, Eddie made it happen. All they did was call Wolak. Okay? Right over here, no, give me the blue thing under the plastic. To commemorate this, the fellas in Rebuild made Eddie a thingamajig.
A big thingamajig.
It's heavy. Now this thing's a little heavy for somebody to hold up, but what it does, if we can plug it in, let me get it around the back. You just turn this crank, Ed, and it says happy return. And for you people that wanted to know, this is a thingamajig or a whatchamacallit. And this is what Eddie's famous for. Now let's see, we got a few more things here. One of the things that Eddie did as an inventor was he invented and was patented. He received a silver dollar from the corporation for a fluorescent tube smasher. Remember that, Ed? And this is no joke. Serious business. I guess the phosphors inside the fluorescent tubes are toxic, and there was a big hullabaloo years ago that if you cut yourself with one of these things, you could do awful kinds of damage to your body. So we made a representation of Eddie's tube treasure. Eddie was also a collector. And I mean to tell you, being a collector, being frugal, as Eddie was, you have all kinds of things. Waste not, want not. If any of you are in the plant and happen to go by Rebuild, you'll see what has been collected. Never threw a thing away. Okay? What I'm getting to this, on Eddie's last day at Hydra-Matic, he made a big thing of throwing his work shoes away. Okay? Now we know that this is contrary to Eddie's nature. In fact, we felt it was an act of bravado to prevent the tears from flowing. Okay? So the fellas in Rebuild got together and we resurrected a few things. And just so that you won't miss them, Eddie, we present you with something that both you and your wife can enjoy. Here you go.
He's got a long way.
Have you got anything to say yet?
No, I'm flabbergasted.
Well, now that we've burned Eddie a little bit, got him singed around the edges, we're going to move on for a fellow about. Well, you got to plug it in. Let's get this plugged in, Jim.
Electrician in the house?
Yeah!
Do I get overtime?
Anybody here from Ford?
Oh, the tag on the front, yeah.
Hey, it works.
It says Eddie Wolak, 38 years from your Hydra-Matic friends. There's a little tag on the front.
The other one was crazy.
Next, we're going to look at Mr. Bueford Huey. Prior to his arrival at Hydra-Matic in 1952, he spent 5 years in the United States Army. And then he was a furnace repairman for Columbia Steel, treating up in Detroit. Then he decided he was going to look for a better job. At least that's what his application says. Right here it says, reason for leaving, Columbia Steel was a better job. Now only Bueford can tell us if he ever had a better job. But one of the things we're going to do, again, we're going to come up with a list of the things that Bueford, I'm sorry. I'm so used to calling him Huey all my life. And then you start looking at applications and everything, and my golly, I didn't know that was his thing. Again, we've got another husband and a father, and he was a soldier. He was a furnace repairman. He was a skilled trades committee man. He was a good negotiator, a fighter, counselor, thinker, fair and honest. And I can say that about a lot of people. Maintenance supervisor. He was a Tiger fan, and again, going to be a retiree at the end of this month. So, anyway, been with us almost 33 years. And he loves furnaces. Heat treat maintenance, that's his bag. One of the things you got to understand is he brought his son into this business, and they've got Bueford Huey's heat treat maintenance. We get them going and keep them flowing. Between the time that Bueford hired in and the time that he made maintenance supervisor, he was quite active in local politics. He was a skilled trades committee man. He was a very adept negotiator and a hard fighter for those he felt had been wrong. And for those young tradesmen, always seemed to be in hot water. He was not only their defender, but he was a counselor. And I think that I can attest to that more than some people can. But it seems that he also needed a defender at times. And checking the record, we found a violation ticket for shop rule 23. It was given to him by a fellow by the name of James Bowser, March 1st, 1966.
I don't believe that.
And he got it for placing union election cards, and I'm quoting now, on the tables and chairs in the hourly cafeteria at J47.
Bueford.
He got a Ritter man. And he had a real good committee man at large to handle it, a fellow by the name of Max Coffin. Well, when Max got through negotiating labor relations, they come up with an extended probation period. And it reads, if no further violations occur in the next 225 months, the violation will be removed from his record on April 1st, 1985. Now, I got to read this thing. Here's a copy of it. In fact, this is an original. It says Personnel Records 5366. On March 1st, 1966, Mr. Huey was observed to be in violation of Shop Rule 23. Discussion with union and management have resulted in the following statement of settlement of grievance number 758125. The parties recognize that Mr. Huey has a long history of boisterous conduct. In addition, his statements that furnaces are his best friends lead the parties to question if he has held his head too close to an open furnace door in direct violation of Wayne Sutton's orders. If true, this would compound his violation of standard conduct. Since neither of the union or management is sure if Mr. Huey can curb his rowdy conduct, an extended probation period appears warranted. Therefore, if no further violations occur in the next 225 months, the violation will be removed from his record April 1st, 1985. Now, this is signed by the Supervisor of Labor Relations in 1966, a fellow by the name of William C. Brown. You got that. Mr. Brown, as you all know, is running the place now. So I guess you're free now, Bueford. That has been cleared. Bueford also was a suggester. I'm sorry, I'll call him Huey so I don't mess it up. There we go. He was also a thinker and a suggester, and we found in his record also a $200 award in 1957. Now, 200 bucks in 1957 was worth some money. Remember that one? Something to do with an Ajax furnace. You know it had to be a furnace. Uh-oh, we let the cat out of the bag on that one. What can I say? Oh, mercy. You know, you try to be clear and concise and keep everything going, and you wind up getting the guy in deep trouble. I don't know. Getting back to the program a little bit, you know, after Uncle Sam went through with you would give him an honorable discharge. Well, the union gave him an honorable withdrawal. And we got a copy of that for you, Huey. This happened, I don't know, let's see, I gotta look at the date. November 22nd, 1971. Took off his overalls, put on a white shirt and tie, and became a maintenance supervisor. And he continued to do the job of a fair, honest person. Good job, right up till the time he left the plant. Now, May 1st, he's officially retired, but that isn't in there, because we did some more investigating. We've been hearing rumors. We know that Huey really doesn't want to leave his job. I mean, he's been here for so many years, working on the same thing so long. So what we figured we'd do is give him something to keep him busy after he leaves. You guys want to come over here and bring it around? I got to tell you that people have to love somebody in order to put so much time and effort in one thing. The fellow that opened Jim is the individual that did most of the work on this. We're going to put it out front, and we're going to have to plug it in also, so somebody will
Ed can get that.
leave it right in there, Ed. Okay. I'll put yours back in there. You can handle it too. Yeah, well, you want to explain who this gentleman is and what he does?
There was a reason I made Roy Curtis come up here and help us carry this up, because he put many hours into this, getting it down to scale and making everything perfect. I want to thank you. Thank you.
Now you notice that there's two switches on this little thing. One in the back, down at the bottom, lights the interior of the furnace, so that you got a night light. And maybe if you don't have a table big enough to handle that thing, I guess you're just going to have to spend some of Huey's money. Now, this wouldn't be complete unless you had something to work with, because invariably somebody's going to jam this furnace up, right? So with this, we have a complete set of prints for this thing. And I'm sure that you'll have many hours of interesting labor on that. Now, the other thing we found out, we didn't know whether Huey was retiring from General Motors or Holcroft. So what we did was we compromised. Everybody else gets a gold credit card. Huey gets a silver job. Here you go. Now we got one other thing, and I'm going to have to read this in order for it to be just correct, okay? In checking with various people throughout the plant, in an effort to pick up some history on these people, one of the things we found out about Huey was that he spent an ungodly amount of time in medical department, okay? This has led some people to believe that he's a very sickly individual. Don't believe it for the minute. Further investigation eliminated this conclusion when you look at the facts. Number one, the frequent trips to medical only occurred during the months from March through October, but they were every year, okay? Rarely was Huey to appear with a bandage. Hardly ever did he complain of being ill. And every time he went through the door, you saw the sports section in his rear pocket. Now, trying to check his medical history, forget it. It's impossible. You know, they claim confidentiality. Anybody in the medical profession, you can't find out if the guy takes beta or aspirin or Excedrin because that's confidentiality. You can't violate that. And that's true. It's a good way to go. But we found a snitch. And it seems that Mr. Huey spent 99% of his times in there discussing a certain group of people with the medical staff. They're called the Detroit Tigers. And we found out that if he wasn't in a furnace, he was talking baseball. Is there any truth to that? Gentlemen, we've got a couple of door prizes here and things like that. We want to tell you that Huey, Ed, we wish you well. We hope that you have a long, happy return. And when you can drag your thoughts away from your families and the Detroit Tigers, maybe you'll think fly up with them. Bless you, boys. People who felt that it wouldn't be right unless we had something to give away as door prize. And so we have a few things up here. They didn't get it down here? No door from the carpet shop. Well, I guess we'll have to come up with something else. Got your tickets in? Grab a number.
Everybody got your stubs in there.
Okay, Mr. McLeod, 201. You got a stub? You got a ticket? Stu McLeod, you don't need a ticket. We got a name, right? I know it's Stu Lace. This comes from you.
We had a few gifts here that we were going to give for a door prize. We just been surprised by our friendly caterer just come up here with a Canadian house, lauter scotch. Well, we got a couple more bottles. So we got a few more door prizes than we anticipated. What's your?
I know what Stu's pleasure is. Here's some scotch, Stu.
I'm going to ask my boss, all right, if I take this to work with me tonight.
I won't